What's up, guys? Welcome to the jungle. Today we're talking about nutrients, grocery shopping, all the good stuff that we need for our body. And it's kind of hard to navigate the store if you don't know what to look for, if you don't plan before you shop. There's so many things, so we're going to get into it. My buddy Austin's going to ask me some questions, and I'm going to go just real in detail of what's happening. So,
All right, Austin. How do better grocery shopping habits help you stay consistent with health?
okay, so I'll just put it this way. If I have bad food in my pantry, I am a lot more apt to go for that food. So if I have gummy worms or ice cream or whatever, I will eat it. But if I don't have those things, then I'm like, okay, well, you only have steak, potatoes, fruit, blah blah blah. That's all I got. I'm not gonna like go out of my way and go to the store, especially if it's just like right there in my pantry or fridge. I'm just gonna hit that. So buying exactly what your body needs, one, you're going to feel a lot better, and two, you are your environment around you. So if you set your environment up for success, you're going to succeed. So this is the easiest way to do it, is putting good food in front of you. If the bad food is accessible when you're hungry, all those standards go out the window. So at least for me. So yeah, that's how staying consistent is really important with the food that you have in your pantry, because your food is what gives you so much life. It gives you everything. When I eat like crap, I feel like crap. So
Would you say a grocery shopping habit is staying on the perimeter? Is that something?
most definitely, yeah, that's a good habit. Staying on the perimeter. All usually stores are set up to where all the whole foods are on the perimeter. You go in between the aisles, that's exactly where the processed food is. That's where you can go wrong really freaking quick. So it's really important. Now some stores like Sprouts, they are kind of scattered throughout, which is pretty cool. They make you like walk around everything, which is actually kind of smart. It's like psychologically being, but yeah, definitely that planning before you shop. So like, okay, this is the recipes I want to do this week. It doesn't even have to be that detailed, but it's like, okay, these are the foods that I've been wanting. This is what Austin told me to get. This is what I'm craving this week. So writing all these things down before you go, because believe me, when I go shopping and I forget a few things, I'm like, God dang it. Like that was perfect. I should have added those things in. So planning before you shop is huge for sure. Shopping the perimeter, yep, most definitely. Another tip I would say is, y'all know me, like reading the labels is the most important thing. So if you're not buying food that's whole food from the ground, it's only going to be single ingredient, right? Reading the labels if you're getting some sort of processed food, or maybe let's say noodles or something, and seeing like what's in there is super important, because they hide so many things. On the front of the label, they might make it look natural, they might make it look organic, this, and that. You turn around and look at the back, and you're like, oh my God, why does this have 20 different ingredients? Why is there numbers of these ingredients? That is bull crap food. So reading the labels is really important. Also, this is, if you can't afford it, it's not a big deal, but prioritizing organic is really good, especially when, let's say, a fruit, like you're consuming the berry, you're consuming the raspberry, and you're eating the physical skin of it. Really important to get organic. I prefer, if you can, go to your farmer's market. That's going to be the ultimate way that you're asking the farmer, hey, did you spray any pesticides? Where was this grown? What's it like in the surrounding areas? How do y'all till the soil? All these kinds of things that allow you to, one, connect with your farmer. Two, you get to cut out the middleman. You're cutting out the grocery store, so hopefully it's more affordable. And then three, yeah, you just know where it's coming from, so it's super important. But prioritizing organic on berries and things you're eating the skin is very, very crucial. Whereas like a grapefruit or an avocado, where you're not physically eating the skin, doesn't really matter too much. Also, that's why I also say to go to the farmer's market, because sometimes even organic things are sprayed with pesticides. They just minus a few ingredients here and there. So you either grow it yourself or farmer's market. Those are the top tier things. Boom. After that, just trying to prioritize organic. Then after that, conventional. No big deal if you cannot afford organic. I get it. I was also there, so it's not a deal breaker. What's the next question, my dude?
Next, so what are your thoughts on animal protein? Like, what's your reasoning for eating animal protein over other sources?
Yeah, animal protein, as you know, guys, is the biggest part of my diet for sure. Animal protein as a whole is just so much more nutrient dense than any other form of protein. So like, let's verse it versus a plant protein. It's like you have a lot more higher in omega-3s, vitamin B12, carotene, creatine. There's so many more micronutrients and minerals in animal-based protein than there is in fruit and vegetables and grains and legumes and whatever. So it's like consuming the most nutrient dense form of protein is a priority. Why not? Like if you're gonna eat every day, you might as well make it worthwhile in eating the most nutrient dense form of food. For me, like ground beef is huge. Like you're getting a ton of nutrients. It's very affordable. It's super, super easy to make. Steak is awesome, but it's also expensive, so I get it. It's also a little bit more timely to cook. You got to take it out, let it get to warm up to room temperature, blah, blah, blah. So ground beef, I'm a super big fan of. It's also really beneficial for heart health. It's beneficial for cardiovascular, pretty much all systems of the body it's very beneficial for. So yeah, reducing the risk of chronic diseases, that's a big one. More conjugated linoleic acid, CLAs, just a bunch of whole different nutrients. So yeah, and it's also better for the environment as well, especially if you're getting grass-fed, regenerative. The cows are pooping on this land and it's regenerating the soil. Then they're eating the grass that they then just fruited with their poop. So it's a whole beautiful cycle, and it's how ranching used to be done. Back in the old days, regenerative organic was just normal. Now we have to go out of our way to buy these things, which is so funny because yeah, conventional cows are in a small plot of land that is really dense. They're only eating grain-fed pellets, which are corn, wheat, and soy, and then thus we are eating that, and it just doesn't have as much nutrients. It's better for the environment. It's just a win-win-win all the way around. That's why I also get a cow share, because it's more affordable that way. When I go to Sprouts and I get a single steak here and there, that adds up. That's pretty costly. So for me, the cow share, just saving up to buy a big hunk of meats and put it in my freezer is the way. And then it's also nice. I can go down to my freezer, take it out the night before, and be like, yeah, I'm having steak tomorrow. I'm having a chuck roast or whatever. So, yeah.
All right. So when it, oh, sorry. Okay, in a lot of your content, you mentioned that grass-fed is the best option, and why is that? You kind of
Kind
covered
of,
that, but let's get a little
yeah,
more.
kind of went over it. Yeah, it's higher in vitamins, nutrients. It's actually a lower fat count as well. So like grain-fed beef, the reason why ranchers like grain-fed beef is because it's cheaper and they're getting more weight. So that's more value for them because they're fattening up the cow really quick. It's a shorter life cycle. They're getting more meat out of it. So when they sell it to the grocery store, they get more money. Grass-fed takes longer. It's a longer process. The cow at the end of the day when it's harvested is half the weight. But it's a lot more nutrient dense for us. It's better for the environment. It's usually more ethical for the animal. So always around grass-fed, grass-finished, regenerative is definitely like the best. But I understand if you can't afford it, believe me, I get it. Like just eat it. It's still, grain-fed beef is still very good for you. Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about fish and seafood. How does that fit into healthy nutrition? We always hear about the wild caught versus farm raised debate. Why do you opt for wild caught?
Yeah, most definitely. So, wild caught. This is wild caught right here. This little mare, this little jaguar. She's you probably like wild caught fish, huh? So, farm raised fish. I just like to talk about the opposite, the opposition first. But farm raised fish, one, if you think about it, they're swimming in their own poop all day long. They're not cleaning this water constantly. The biggest outbreaks of sea lice is in farm-raised fish. The biggest outbreaks of chlamydia, which is literally a sexually transmitted infection, is also in farm-raised fish. So it's pretty mind-blowing. Also is lower nutrient density, and they re-add color to the fish through their feed. So if you look at a farm-raised salmon versus a wild-caught salmon, the wild-caught is so much more auburn orange. It's deep in color. It's almost red in a way. If you look at a farm-raised salmon, it's very light orange, almost light pinkish, grayish in a way. That's because farm-raised salmon would naturally be gray in color if they weren't to reintroduce this pigment through the feed. So pretty crazy. But all in all, it's higher nutrient count for wild caught. It's lower risk of contamination through diseases or clean water. It's better for the environment to buy wild caught. It's better for the fishermen, all this kind of stuff. And honestly, for me, farm raised versus wild caught, it's better flavor. Like I truly love the flavor more. So yeah, that's why I'm about the wild caught versus farm raised. So also, there's no use of chemicals. They're treating this water that the farm raised fish are swimming in with chemicals. So it's like, oh my God, I'd much rather have salmon from the ocean that are just swimming in nutrient dense, mineral dense water.
Should I do it?
Send it.
All right. Can we discuss healthy and unhealthy carbs? Like, what's the difference between consuming carbs in whole foods versus processed foods?
Yeah, so carbs have been deemed bad sometimes, and the reason for that is because carbs are mostly associated with processed foods. There is good carbs out there. Like I really enjoy jasmine or basmati rice. I really enjoy potatoes. There's other carbs like legumes and grains and couscous, all these things. I'm not a super big fan of. If your gut can digest it, boom, it's great. But as far as good carbs, rice, potatoes, fire, super good. As soon as you go into the processed foods, as soon as you go into the noodles and this and that, it's easy to go wrong really quick. So that's why I'm really about just understanding what is a good carb, what's a bad carb. I prefer white rice over brown rice. Brown rice tends to be a little bit more harsher on the gut. Yeah, sweet potatoes is a really good one. I love those. Super easy to make. I literally just clean them off, throw them in the oven on a glass dish for an hour and a half. Boom, they're done. And then I can just throw them in the fridge, and whenever I want a sweet potato, heat it up, good to go. So I really like that. Quinoa is another good one, but sometimes it's harsher on the gut. Yeah, so, but if you're trying to lose weight, I wouldn't necessarily recommend a whole bunch of carbs. I still would recommend it before and after a workout. That's definitely where your glycemic index or glucose is spiking, so definitely need that. But yeah, if you're trying to gain weight, Carb Central, get it. But make sure you're prioritizing protein.
When considering fruits and vegetables, why do you think they're essential to our health, and what are some things you think are important to know about them?
Yeah, so some people like try to put me as like, oh, organic Tarzan doesn't like vegetables. No, I still like them, but I don't make them a main part of my diet. They're almost like a food, they're like a flavor enhancer in a way, like a texture enhancer in my food, because having sweet potatoes and ground beef is great. With an avocado on there, amazing. But then adding a little onions, garlic, diced bell peppers, diced sweet peppers is amazing. I love it. It just adds a different type of texture, consistency to it. Green onions, what have you. It's so good. But just making that a main part of your diet, I wouldn't recommend. But definitely having it as an additive with your food, amazing. So that's definitely why I like it. Make sure that the veggie is like firm in texture. You don't want it to be soft and kind of soggy in a way. There is ways to rehydrate vegetables and even fruit to get them to become more plump again. Google that. And then yeah, fruit, once again, prioritize organic if you're eating the skin. And then yeah, same thing. You can also look like what fruit is in season in your area, because sometimes having strawberries when it's not in season, one, is not the best environmentally because they're shipping in from Mexico and it's going all the way to you in Idaho, so it's not like the best. But yeah, firmness is huge in fruit and vegetables, so I'm big on that.
If someone was considering incorporating raw dairy into their diet, what would you tell them?
One, if you have access to it, that's amazing. So many people don't have access to raw dairy. What I would recommend is trying to, if you don't have access, like I'm so lucky, my Sprouts down the street has raw kefir, raw cream, raw cheese, raw butter, raw milk. Super amazing. It's raw is great because it's from unpasteurized milk. The pasteurization process is literally just heating up the cream, the milk to I think above 140 degrees. And unfortunately that's killing a lot of the bacteria, the enzymes, the pro and prebiotics that we need to digest dairy. So it was the OG dairy in a way, is unpasteurized. We started pasteurization, it's a long historical story, but I think back in the 60s or 70s, when they found that they could pretty much make the flavor consistent across the board. And then there was this hysteria of, oh my God, unpasteurized is bad because of like one outbreak from like a very crappy farm. They weren't like cleaning any of their equipment before the use, so that's why there was a bad rap on raw dairy a long time ago. So yeah, raw dairy has so many benefits, and it's just the fact that your body can process a lot better. It's giving you a lot more nutrients that you wouldn't otherwise get from pasteurized um, dairy. So yeah, definitely. And if you can't find it at your local store, go to your farmer's market. Also, I believe, Google this, but I think it's like rawmilkfinder.com.
So fats are always something that have gotten a bad rep in the past, but now it seems like there's more information coming out on how they can be healthy for you, like keto and carnivore diets. How do you know which ones are healthy and why are they considered healthy?
Mm. So just like carbs, there's bad fats, there's healthy fats. Our brain is mostly fat. Like we need fat. Even if you're trying to cut and lose weight, you still need fat, and in fact, it's more imperative. Healthy fats for me are avocados. Like I love avocados. One, because there's not a lot of flavor in it. So if I like dice it up in my eggs or my steak or ground beef or whatever, it's like I'm getting a lot more fat in there than I otherwise wouldn't, and it's like almost tasteless. So if I salt and pepper it and throw another chipotle spice on it or whatever, it's like it's going to taste like however I season it. I love that. Olive oil, avocado oil, you can literally take a shot of olive oil in the morning or whenever, and it's like so good for you. Other fats are also raw dairy as well, and coconut oil. Let's see, what's another fat? Those are the main ones for sure. Butter, olive oil, avocado oil, and coconut oil. As far as those oils, I would make sure it's in glass, it's organic, and it's single origin. When they pour in avocado olive oil into these plastics, it's hot. It's hot when they pour them in, so it can leach microplastics in there. Um, Avocados, do yourself a favor and get a few that are ripe. Get a few that aren't ripe and get a few that are way not ripe and throw those in the fridge. The ones that are ripe, keep them out so that you can have a cycle. Like, oh, okay, I'm going to have a half avocado for breakfast, half avocado for dinner, and you can cycle through, which is really nice. And the reason also why having single origin is because if your avocado olive oil has multiple origins, a lot of times those are cut with another oil. You can see if your olive oil is a real deal, 100% olive oil is, if you throw it in the fridge overnight, you take it out in the morning, it should, I believe, it should be a little grainy. It shouldn't be like super liquid anymore, or it's either the opposite, but I believe it's grainy. So that's a cool way to test out to see if like your olive oil is like super on point. Another way to get really good fats is almonds, like as nuts. Now I wouldn't totally base my diet around that because some people have a tough time digesting nuts. So like almonds, walnuts, pecans, pistachios, all these kinds of things. So yeah, that's definitely, take it as you will. Listen to your body, how you feel after eating that, and yeah. So love avocados. That's probably like the biggest one as a food I would recommend eating. But other than that, cook your food in butter and throw some butter on after, or take a shot of olive oil, cook with avocado or olive oil. So yeah. And then also what to look out for is trans fats. So trans fats is something that your body has a very tough time burning. And you can see this, I see this mostly in peanut butter. So if you were to look at a Jif or Skippy peanut butter and it says partially hydrogenated oils, that right there is a trans fat. Now, what's wild is how they are allowed to get away with saying 0 grams of trans fat on the label. It's because if a product has less than 0.5 grams of trans fat, they can label it as 0. Like they get to round down, which is mind blowing. But yeah, if it says partially or fully hydrogenated oils, avoid. That is trans fats. It's linked with heart disease, it's strokes, like all that. You don't want to get it. I used to eat peanut butter Nutella sandwiches all the time in high school. Like that was my jam, literally, and that was full of trans fats. Now a youngin in sports, of course, I can burn that, but like regardless, not the best to set myself off with. Another thing, trans fats, bad fats, of course, processed foods like popcorn or packaged snacks or this stuff. Like, look at the ingredients. It's so easy that they can hide this crap in it. So, pretty bad. Corn syrup solids. These are in more like sweeter foods. Even bread has high fructose corn syrup. Obviously, sodas. Another one that's sneaky in there is like sauces. Let's say a ranch or barbecue sauce or chipotle or an Asian fusion sauce. Look in there because oftentimes there'll be partially hydrogenated oils or high fructose corn syrup, crazy stuff like that. So, also another thing to look out for is aspartame, like in diet sodas. Y'all know me, like I'm not a soda fan. If you want to have one occasionally, I get it for sure, but don't be drinking those every day. I'm a big fan of water. Um, Filtered water, like reverse osmosis water, big time. Coconut water, that's my jam. Sure, you can have a Olipop, like a carbonated prebiotic soda. I'm just not a fan of carbonated drinks, but if you are, no big deal. Have it, indulge, but don't have it all the time. Yeah, and then artificial sweeteners can be like an easy way to go wrong. Like if it has sucralose, like the Celsius energy drinks, they're marketed as good and healthy. It has a picture of a fruit on it. It says fit. It's far from that. So there's Prime, an energy drink that has sucralose, that has artificial sweeteners. Like those are not good. So definitely stay away from that. Yeah, I might have went on to the next question, but I just
Yeah, you
was ranting.
definitely. We're going to talk about some common ingredients in foods to
Mm.
avoid. Are there any extra ones that you might have left out?
Yeah, MSG is another big one, especially in the Asian food community and sauces. MSG is huge. They love that, and definitely used to like that taste for sure. I believe MSG is monosodium glutamate, and that's been linked to weight gain, blood pressure increase, all that kind of stuff. It's not the best. Noodles, yeah, just frozen dinners. MSG is definitely big in those, but definitely big in like the Asian community, for sure. Of course, other things to avoid. Y'all know what it is. Seed oils. That's huge. Um, Something I didn't know about a few years ago, honestly, which is pretty wild. But yeah, canola oil, vegetable oil, grapeseed oil, um, soybean oil. There's so many. Like I said, the good fats to eat and cook in: coconut, avocado, olive oil, butter, ghee, tallow. Those six. Those are the six. Those are the only six we're doing in Tarzan's jungle. That's it. All the other oils, they gotta go. And they're commonly found in like sauces and salad dressings and chips and processed food. Oh my gosh, I even saw the other day they're marketing as a garlic oil, and it was literally just canola oil and garlic oil. And I'm like, oh my God. And they're selling it for $10. I'm like, that's insane, dude. The margins on that gotta be crazy. It's probably like 15 cents to make. They're selling it for 10. So messed up. Another one is food dyes, artificial food dyes. So red 40, y'all know. Brendan and I be talking about that all the time. Red 40, blue 5, yellow 5, blue lake. Um, Anytime you see a color, and it's gonna be like a color for food, right? If it has red 40 in it or whatever, it's probably gonna be red in color. If there's any colored food you're consuming, guaranteed it's going to have food dyes. Stay away. Those have been linked to neurological issues, especially in younger kids. But regardless, as adult, I'm sure that they would carry over to that. Yeah, so it's like hyperactivity, ADHD, pretty freaking wild what it's been linked to. So stay away from the food dyes if you can, for sure. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Sometimes when I go grocery shopping, I will grab a couple gummy worms when I'm shopping, and that used to be my thing when I was younger, like teenage years. I had a $5 bi-weekly allowance, and I would go and get a Coke Icy and gummy worms. That was my shit. That was it. And still today, I love a freaking gummy worm, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I will eat a couple gummy worms, and believe me, they got red 40 in it. They got all the crap in it. So watch out for that. Any processed food, cookies, pastries, sauces, they got the freaking colorful stuff. They got the crap in it. So yeah, that's definitely something to look out for. I think that's fairly it. I mean, a general rule of thumb when I'm going shopping is to look at the ingredient labels, and if you don't understand what it is, it's probably something you shouldn't be eating. If you can understand, oh, this is avocado oil, this is potatoes and salt. Okay, we get it. Wait, these are whole foods. And then it says and or canola or vegetable oil. Nope. Blue 5, yellow 5. Nope. MSG added. Nope. If it says made with um, it's either biological. It's like it literally says like, oh, bioengineered ingredients. Pfft, nope. Like if you can't understand that's a whole food in the ingredients, it's got to go. Slowly wing yourself off. You're gonna feel better the more you eat better. You're not gonna want to have as much of as this processed food, as this junk food. And like I said at the beginning of this video, if you buy only good food, it's really hard to go out of your way to eat the bad food. So like I don't have like a crap processed food. I would have to go out of my way and go to the convenience store, go to the grocery store to get these things, and that's a lot harder to do. So it's a lot easier to consume what's in front of us. So set yourself up for success and only get foods that's going to allow you success. So yeah, guys, I'm stoked. I'm stoked y'all are on this journey with me. We're gonna get happy and healthy together, and yeah, these are the ways. Is there any other questions?
How much would you typically spend on groceries, and what would you say to someone that thinks it's too expensive to eat healthy?
Okay. Um, I would say that the cost of fast food now is not cheap anymore. I was listening to Mind Pump. It's one of my favorite podcasts. It's a health and fitness podcast, and they were just riffing about the fact that not not but 2 years ago, the price of a Big Mac, the price of large fries, the price of whatever is now like $2 more. Like there's not a dollar menu anymore at McDonald's. There's like it's kind of expensive to eat fast food. Like if I were to get a Big Mac with fries and a drink, I mean I'm looking at like 10 to 12 bucks. If I were to get a pound of ground beef, which is 5 times the amount of protein I would get in a Big Mac, I could get it for $6. If I were to get a potato or rice, like that's like $1. And it's like it's a lot more affordable to eat healthy now. The only thing that's tough is making it. So like making it in batches is amazing because now I can just go to my glass Tupperware, reheat the food, whether I reheat on a cast iron, toaster oven, maybe even a microwave. It's a lot cheaper now. So that's the way to do it. And you know what you're getting. You feel full for longer. Like if I were to go get sushi right now, like I would be full for like an hour and then I'd be like ravishly hungry. Whereas like if I were to eat ground beef, rice, avocado, and some diced onions and sweet peppers, dude, I'd be full for like 3 hours at least. So yeah, and it is more affordable to make your own food with the highest quality stuff than it is to eat out. And unfortunately, even eating out at decent restaurants, they're cooking in crap oil. They're not getting wild caught fish. They're not getting grass fed beef. And if they are, it's going to be $80 a plate, you know? So, especially in California, it's crazy. What was the other question I didn't answer? Sorry, it was,
How much do you typically spend on groceries?
it has definitely, unfortunately, increased. Inflation is bonkers. It's kind of a little tough to answer that question because I do get a cow share, so I do buy my meat in bulk. So that's a fourth, a third of what I spend for groceries is kind of boom off in that category. But I would say now I eat a lot, and sometimes like I cook food for my girlfriend, but I would say $150 per week. But I'm also like buying kind of expensive stuff. Like the raw milk for a gallon of it is like $16, which is a lot. So even like, I go to Costco and I get my grass-fed butter there. I get my coconut water there, or my coconut oil, my avocado oil, all these things that, yeah, I buy in bulk, and it's like a lot cheaper over time. Now, if you don't have a Costco card, no big deal. There are stores like Grocery Outlet that have like really good deals occasionally on pretty high quality stuff. So, and like I said, getting grass-fed or getting grass-fed meat or butter, it's not a make or break thing. Like, it's not like, oh, I'm going to have 1 more inch on my biceps by next week because I ate raw milk, raw cheese, you know what I'm saying? So it's not like a deal breaker. But when you do prioritize those things, it gets to be a little bit more pricey. I think I could do, which would be a great video, a extremely budget-friendly shop. Like I could go shop at Walmart for a week for a college student and probably get around $80, I would say. That's a great video. We got to do that, Austin. Yeah, so I think you can make it very affordable. And like I said, if you were to go out to McDonald's and Chipotle every day and you did that twice a day, I mean, geez, I mean, I would be looking at almost like $30 per day. Whereas, if I spent that $30 on groceries, then I could get the raw milk, then I could get the organic stuff because that stuff adds up to the same. And then I'm cooking it in amazing oil. So it's like all these things have a synergistic effect for us. And you will be ultimately happier and healthier. You'll be more productive. You'll feel better. The people around you will see that you look brighter. Your skin's going to clear up. You're able to help people more. You're able to get more done. It's just a win-win-win all the way around. So I think that pretty much wraps up that.
Yep.
Heck
And
yeah.
last one, if you were to break down everything you do in a week and name the 3 most important things you do to keep your nutrition dialed in.
Okay. I would say, yeah, buying the good stuff, because if you buy the bad stuff, it's a lot easier when you have access to it, it's a lot easier to eat it for sure. The question was like the 3 overall tips you would say?
Yeah. Top 3 most important things to keep your nutrition dialed in.
Yeah, I would also say cook things in bulk. So what gets me is when I'm busy all day on my phone, my computer with calls. If I didn't pre-make a meal, it's a lot harder for me to spend 10 to 15 minutes cooking a meal than it would be for me to pull out a meal I did on Sunday evening and put it in the toaster oven for 10 minutes, take it out, boom, good to go, like good to eat. Like making meal prep, bulk meals is really important, and it's going to lead to a lot of your success. And you can like reheat it on your cast iron, so it's like you freshly made it. It doesn't have to be to where it's like, oh, reheating meals sucks. Like, no, if you reheat it with some butter and a cast iron, boy, it tastes like you just made it. So it's really good. Let's see, the last tip. The last tip. I would say make it fun. So like have like a night or two a week that you have a recipe that you're just gonna go off of. You looked on the internet, damn, I want to make this buffalo chicken recipe. I haven't had that in a while. Or like, oh, my favorite restaurant I go to makes like a really good Asian fusion bowl. Let me try to recreate that at home. Like make it fun. Like try to increase your chef game up by trying different things, looking at recipes. I'm gonna have recipes on here. I'm gonna cook with y'all every other week, so it's like I'm gonna show y'all some fun stuff to do. So yeah, enjoy it. You're going to enjoy it from an inner perspective, because the more you eat healthy, the more you're gonna feel better. The more you're gonna want to do it. It's gonna become addicting. So yeah, guys, make it fun. Make a lot of your meals in bulk, and try to only buy the good stuff. Buy the bad stuff occasionally, sure, but like most of the time buy the good stuff. So yeah, guys, I appreciate y'all. We're in this together. Let's freaking go. You.